Coming up on Focal Point. Governor Whitmer and the state of Michigan take a stand against the current epidemic facing teens. Michigan State University makes travel safer for two wheels on roads made for four. Michigan is a no-kill state. We'll tell you what that means to the Capital Area Humane Society coming up. And a new iconic structure made its way onto MSU's campus this summer. Focal Point starts now.
Hello and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Alyssa Burr.
And I'm Tony Black. We begin with a ban that could force some Michigan businesses to go up in smoke.
Earlier this month, Michigan became the first country to ban flavored vape products. Governor Whitmer took the action after 8 respiratory illnesses were linked to the products. Vape and e-cigarette businesses now have only a few days to comply with the ban and stop all sales of flavored nicotine vaping products. So what does that mean for vape users and a billion-dollar industry?
These are bigger mod devices. They're for lower nicotine salt juices or lower nicotine juices. And
Megan Peterson is manager of Puff Puff Smoke Shop in East Lansing.
Most of our business is vape juice and disposable vapes.
The shop struggling under Michigan's current ban of flavored vape and e-cigarette products.
We're officially out of all Lush Ice flavors. That's so sad. We may not have business or nearly as much business as we need.
Another concern by Michigan researchers is where young people are getting these products. It's not in stores.
Some materials people are purchasing online or modifying themselves, and I think the science behind that is not well understood at all.
However, the ban is still affecting businesses that are selling regulated products.
Yesterday, this whole wall was filled with vape juice, even that bottom row, and we had to get rid of about 100 bottles and shipped them off to Chicago to another store owner so we could make back a little bit of our money.
Some vape users are all for the ban to protect our youth.
It's like getting in middle schools and stuff now, so I would just say that it's like just something that needed to happen.
For Peterson, the ban isn't going to help curb nicotine getting into the hands of minors.
Kids have access to these vape juices, then they can get a hold of cigarettes.
We don't understand why these severe lung diseases are happening. Out of abundance of caution, CDC is recommending that people consider not using e-cigarettes and not vape.
And could potentially run them out of business.
We're making products that will bypass the vape ban and hopefully will stay in business, but it is a very scary environment right now.
After this 6-month ban, Governor Gretchen Whitmer could renew the vaping ban for another 6 months. After that, she'll have to take it to the legislature where the ban could become law. The number is now 223. That's how many House of Representative members are in favor of impeachment inquiries against President Trump. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi launched the formal inquiry into the president after reports that he withheld aid to the Ukraine to pressure them to find wrongdoing by former Vice President Joe Biden and his son. A transcript of a phone call between Trump and Ukraine's president has been released by the White House. In the call, President Trump and President Zelensky discussed the Bidens. President Trump asked the Ukrainian president to investigate the 2020 Democratic presidential candidate and his son Hunter. President Trump denies all allegations of wrongdoing.
No push, no pressure, no nothing. It's all a hoax, folks. It's all a big hoax.
If the House of Representatives votes for impeachment, there will be a hearing in the Senate to determine if President Trump is guilty of a crime. Trump is only the 4th president in the U.S. history to have an impeachment inquiry brought against him, and none have been removed from office.
Good news for animals waiting to find their forever homes. Earlier this month, Michigan became a no-kill state for shelter animals, thanks to the Michigan Pet Fund Alliance. But what does that designation really mean?
Wasn't there.
I don't remember what it was like to not have her around. She's my little shadow.
MSU senior Shannon Campo loves her dog, Beatrice.
We just call her B for short.
B for short.
I know this is usually her playtime.
They've been together almost a year now.
She's just always there. She's like my best friend.
Starting life in Georgia.
She actually was surrendered by a family, which means they gave her up.
And finding her forever home in Michigan.
She's a very happy dog.
B has been through a lot.
I've always been really big into rescuing.
And so have these animals.
We take in about 4,500 animals into our shelter annually.
Julia Wilson spends her life with animals. She's in charge here at the Capital Area Humane Society in Lansing.
Most of our residents are cats and dogs, and rabbits, hamsters, small pocket pets.
Michigan just adopted the title of a no-kill state.
Animals coming into shelters in Michigan, 90% are getting a positive outcome.
They received that recognition by having at least 90% of animals in shelters go home.
Meaning they either get returned to their owner through strays and they're returned to their owner, or they're transferred to another organization, or they're adopted out.
It's good that a lot of these kennels are empty. It means more pets are being adopted. But the title of a no-kill state is a little misleading.
It doesn't mean that no animals are being euthanized in shelters. It means that 10% or less are being euthanized in our state. And to go from a state with 60 to 70% euthanasia to come down to 10% and less, that's all hugely progressive.
For B,
She was saved by being brought here.
she was saved. And now Shannon is too.
I'm just happy that everyone's finding a place and a home.
A 90% adoption rate is the minimum to qualify as a no state. Wilson says the Capital Area Humane Society is proud of its 97% success rate. And now pet lovers have a new place to find their furry soulmates. The new animal shelter is open in Mason thanks to Ingham County taxpayer dollars. Almost 200 cats and about 40 dogs are waiting for adoption. The new facility has 3 meet and greet rooms. Those rooms can also double if more animals are to come in. There are also double-sided dog kennels that allow the dogs to go out and play on their new turf. The shelter also has improved medical features as well.
Now we have a dedicated surgery suite, which is honestly, it's a fantastic facility. We have x-ray services, we have multiple surgery tables and portable gurneys, and it's a really, really great facility for animals that are coming in that may not be in the greatest condition.
The new shelter is in Mason behind the 55th District Court. For more information about the shelter and adoptions, go to ac.ingham.org.
Crunch Fitness in East Lansing officially opened on Wednesday after 4 months of construction. On Tuesday, locals were invited to tour the new gym. Gym rats can get that great body running and lifting around 28,000 square feet of space. And location is convenient for Michigan State students, only about 2 miles away from campus. The gym offers group classes and training, as well as features like tanning and hydro massages. Crunch has gyms worldwide, but for co-owner Adam Harani, the East Lansing location is special.
Just super excited to be back in the Lansing area, and grew up here and went to Michigan State, so just excited to give back to a community that gave me so much.
Harani said they hope to open a total of 28 gyms in Michigan. Membership starts at $9.95 a month.
If you have the need for speed, you can get it in an unlikely location, inside the Meridian Mall. Now you can go-kart race inside what used to be the old Yonkers department store. High-caliber karting and entertainment opened last weekend, and now shoppers can race around an indoor track instead of racing to a sale. In fact, adrenaline junkies can choose from 2 different tracks, and after you take the checkered flag, you can relax in the axe throwing department.
I think this is going to be a big thing for Meridian Township. A lot of people have been looking for a place to be able to go and enjoy themselves, and there's not much karting activity around the area. I mean, the closest one you got to drive to is either Flint or Novi.
High-caliber karting features a racing simulator, full service bar, and much more. Go-kart racing starts at $23 a person, and package options are available.
Have you seen the changes at campus? We have the story of MSU's new bike-friendly road.
And if you haven't been to the south side of campus lately, you're missing a huge addition. Those stories just ahead on Focal Point.
September is National Suicide Awareness Month, and nearly 1,000 people turned out recently for a walk to support those affected by mental illness. The Out of the Darkness Community Walk at Hawk Island Park is an annual event sponsored by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Half of the nearly $54,000 raised stays locally to fund resources like support groups. Co-chair Liz Baker says this event means so much to those touched by suicide.
It means everything to me, to the community. It's hope and healing, and it shows the community that you're not alone, and there are people that have experienced losses very similar and are here and they understand.
If someone you know is in need of help, contact the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. On this campus, Tony, it seems we dodge scooters but take bikes for granted.
Bikes may seem like the forgotten mode of transportation, but that is changing on campus. We throw it to Luke Saccone for more on the new bike-only roads on campus.
Thanks, guys. Michigan State has been upping its game in allowing bikes on campus. There are many ways for students to get around campus: car, moped, electric scooter, bus, walking, or biking. But Focal Point's Griffin Stroyan shows us how it just got easier for one group of commuters.
The Red Cedar River. Its current flowing west into the Grand River. Campus flows too, not with water, but with cars, skateboards, and mopeds. But a lot of us prefer the bicycle. Those two-wheelers help students get from here to there.
We're here to encourage more bicycling.
That's Tim Potter. His preferred title, Sustainable Transportation Manager. Potter has been an avid biker since he could walk, and he has been making MSU more bike-friendly for 13 years.
Yeah, it's my life. Yeah. Starting in the year 2000, we've now got 75% of the roads have bike lanes.
Potter sees one big issue, though, when it comes to Michigan State's biking population.
You feel safer on the sidewalk, but that's where 90% of the crashes occur.
Most bike lanes on campus are just like this one, a white line separating just a few feet off the road. These upgraded bike lanes are way bigger and then clearly marked by these separators.
And I just sat there watching like 8 or so bicyclists coming off the sidewalk to the protected bike lane, and then they all followed each other down that protected bike lane. And I was just like, yes.
He knows from watching that these new lanes are a good idea.
We need to start looking at, for the next generation, making the bike lanes that we do have more attractive and safer for the bicyclists.
And whether MSU builds more bike lanes or not, Potter will follow his own path, pedaling all the way.
I'll probably continue to be in that small minority, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy it enough that as long as I can keep pedaling.
In East Lansing, I'm Griffin Stroyan, Focal Point News.
To make sure that the new bike lanes are truly making a difference, MSU officials installed cameras to monitor the amount of people using them. If they prove popular, we could see more bike lanes in the future. It's homecoming week. Leading up to the big game against Indiana tomorrow, campus has been buzzing with alumni and events to get the Spartans in game day mood. Self-guided tours of Spartan Stadium kicked off homecoming week. Visitors were welcomed with free merchandise and giveaways. Perfect timing for the weekend's homecoming game. Tours included visits into the press box and exclusive private box seats that looked down on the field. Those that came by were treated to a once-in-a-lifetime view of campus all the way to the state capitol.
The everyday person doesn't get to see this, and so to be able to give some of this experience and just kind of see it from this perspective is something that's really neat for current students as well as alumni. So.
What a great way to start off homecoming. I can't wait to go tailgating tomorrow and getting lost in a sea of green and white. Check out this picture of infrastructure planning and facilities was sent over the summer by a visitor complaining about the water quality here on campus. You can see it has a yellowish tint to it. The problem is that the water coming to campus has a lot of iron in it, which changes the color and taste. To fix is constructing a new water filtration plant and water storage tower. The purpose of the project is to remove iron from the water that is distributed throughout campus. The tower and plant are located by the surplus store on Greenway and Recycling Drive. The 2 million gallon water tower stands 160 feet tall and can be seen far across campus. It took 5 hours and 28 hydraulic jacks to raise the 360-ton empty tank. IPF assembled it on the ground instead of trying to put the pieces together in the air. Once filled with water, the tank will weigh roughly 11 million pounds.
The whole objective was to improve the water quality that's being delivered to the people on campus. And like I say, safety has never been an issue. That really wasn't a factor, and that's not going to change now.
The $21 million project is expected to be completed in December, so when students return for the spring semester, they will have access to the improved water system. That's what's happening on campus. I'm Luke Saccone.
It's a big sports weekend here at Michigan State, but it's not about football.
Focal Point's Griffin Stroyan is here and ready to take a deep breath to bring it all to you.
It was a big weekend for the women's golf team. Plus, the field hockey team found a way to get it done and stay in the top 25. A solid offensive showing gives Spartans fans hope when it comes to the football team, and the soccer team, not so much. They'll have Notre Dame at home, but I'll have all that after the break.
Earliest recollection of Michigan State was actually seeing the marching band. I'm a proud member of the Spartan Marching Band. I served as the drum major at Michigan State for 4 years, and it was really one of the highlights of my college career, and the opportunity really set me up for success in not only my career, but also being a leader in my company. The program I was able to study allowed me the opportunity to understand a variety of the communication disciplines, and I think it was that opportunity to be able to understand journalism, to understand public relations, other aspects of communication, and certainly advertising, really allowed me to create kind of a general understanding and really pave the way for me to go and create and invent and build the career that I wanted to pursue. I love that we have students at Michigan State who are eager, they're thirsty for knowledge, they have the tenacity to want to go and roll up their sleeves, they want to learn the trade, they want to learn the craft, and I just feel like it's my responsibility to be able to share with people the success I've created and be able to open doors for them to create the same.
Welcome back. It was a crazy busy week for Spartan Athletics, and we'll start on the putting green. The Michigan State women's golf team hosted the 36th annual Mary Fossum Invitational, and with 12 wins all time in this tournament, the Spartans look to add another win to their resume. The two-day tournament began on Sunday at Forest Acres West, and the Spartans came out red hot, leading at 12 over par after 2 rounds. Senior Paf Marfa Sanz led the way for MSU, leading at 2 under. She recorded her lowest round of the season with a 3 under 69. And then on Championship Monday, they continued to dominate, winning their first tournament of the season in convincing fashion, 23 shots better than second place Western Kentucky. Individually, Marfa Sanz won the tournament at 2 over.
You know, the kids are working hard, and they know that they've got to be on their game every day or else they may be out of the lineup. So just really happy for her. She's an incredible kid and just a wonderful representative, not only for Spain, but for the Spartans.
For Marfa Sanz, her parents made the trip all the way from Spain, and how special that they got to see her first tournament win. Now moving out of the tee box to Ralph Young Field, where the women's field hockey team took on the Cardinals of Ball State. Emmy ranked 23rd in the nation coming into this one, but on a 2-game losing streak, so they're looking to bounce back. We're going to jump right into the second period here. No score. Michigan State with the corner. They send it in, stop it, and then Aisha Osinga puts this one into the back of the net to give the Spartans a 1-0 lead. Now moving quickly, here's a Meredith Ross. She sneaks this one underneath the Ball State goalie, Grace Chavez, to extend MSU's lead to 2 goals. Now early in the third period, Selena Ricardo with the ball. She sends it toward the goal where Leah Sinisi is perfect position to tap it in. What a goal. Michigan State takes this one by a final score of 3-1, and they move to 5-3 on the year.
Yeah, well, we just talked a lot about intercepting and beating them to the ball, and I give Ball State credit. They were very aggressive to the ball, and they were beating us to the ball, and that's something we knew about them coming in. So we had to kind of change our mindset a little bit, get a little bit more aggressive. We'd also talked about being a little bit cleaner defensively after Friday's match, so I think that put the girls on their back foot a little bit. So it was good to kind of get them recognizing when to intercept, when was a good time to go, and then when they needed to hold.
Ranked and moved to 24th in the latest coaches poll. Later today, they'll be in Evanston to take on top 10 Northwestern Wildcats. While field hockey is heading to Evanston, the football team was there this past weekend, hoping to bounce back from a heartbreaking loss at home against Arizona State. Would Coach D'Antonio get that coveted 110th victory? We start on the Spartans' first drive of the game. First and goal from the 5, Elijah Collins looks like he stopped, but then all of a sudden breaks the plane. He's going to squeak in there for 7. Spartans up 7 early. Now, into the second quarter, it's only up by 4, but Brian Lewerke's going to change that. Lewerke with a dime to the corner of the end zone to Cody White, his second touchdown grab of the year. MSU up 14-3 at the end of the quarter. And then in the second half, it was all Spartans, up 24-3. This pass from Lewerke to Matt Seibert seals the deal. Seibert's second touchdown of the game. Spartans roll past Northwestern, the final 31-10.
Played extremely well on defense, 4 turnovers, and then on offense, sort of workmanlike. You know, we had opportunities. We did drive the ball, just 1 field goal, but we did drive the ball and we scored touchdowns more often than not.
This win did more than just break the record for Coach D'Antonio. It also propelled MSU back into the rankings as they are now in the 25th in the nation. But the Big Ten schedule doesn't slow down anytime soon. MSU will return to Spartan Stadium for a homecoming date with Indiana tomorrow. Kickoff is set for 3:30 p.m. Now, what a difference a year makes for the MSU soccer team. Last year, the Spartans made it all the way to the Final Four, but this year they are winless through 6 games. But they look to finally put a W in the win column against Notre Dame. Great showing from the Red Cedar Rowdies for this one. Now late in the first half on the attack, Farai Mutatu slips but is able to fire off this shot, but the Irish goalie is able to make the stop to keep the game tied at 0. In the second half, Notre Dame's Aiden McFadden, he's going to get a clean shot off here, but the Spartan goalkeeper Hunter Morse is able to make a save. A defensive slugfest through 70, and now in the 79th, there's going to be a loose ball out in front, and the Notre Dame's Michael Pellegrino is going to come up with this one. A heartbreaking loss for MSU as they lose 1-0 at home. A frustrated Spartan team just hoping to get some results soon.
I feel for the guys because I think they deserve a result. I feel for my assistants. They put a ton of time in, and I think they deserve a result, but sometimes that's life. You know, just because you work hard doesn't mean you get everything. So you've got to deal with it and get better.
His first Big Ten matchup of the season is tonight. They'll travel to Rutgers to take on the Scarlet Knights in search of that first W. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Now, we're all familiar with the sports we just saw, but how about the emergence of a sport that you can't find on the field or a court? Tony Black is live in the Communication Arts and Science building in a different kind of playing field. Tony?
And in the gaming development room, to be exact, from soccer to swimming to track and field, high schools offer a lot of different sports to their students. But there's a new one gaining momentum that can't necessarily be found on the turf. Instead, might be found in a place like this.
There needs to be a physically active component to your day, but it doesn't have to necessarily be during your competition.
The skill and strength of playing a sport. Brian Fuller heads all of Okemos High School's athletic teams.
Anything that potentially can add to the educational value of the students, I think the district has an obligation to at least investigate.
When you think of high school sports, baseball, volleyball, and football come to mind. But could you imagine a new high school sport that would use one of these?
Even some of our athletic kids are involved in gaming.
Gaming, not running or hitting, but sitting in a chair and exercising your mind.
It really didn't start exploding until the last 4 years, I want to say.
Ryan Felton leads MSU's League of Legends Club.
In a way, they're no different from traditional sports, so it makes sense that there's a scene for them now, you know?
It's called electronic sports, and it's rising in popularity. School districts across the country find themselves putting eSports on their roster.
If this is a way of adding a competition in a non-traditional way, I think you investigate it, and it seems like it has some value.
Esports may lack the physical aspect that comes with traditional sports, but it makes up for it mentally.
Strategy and quick thinking and quick reactions, while in sports, it's about power or speed.
Okemos doesn't offer esports as a school-sponsored sport, but Fuller sees the potential.
Esports thing that's of interest, I think to me at least, is the competitive nature.
Now, being competitive and inclusive doesn't mean being bound to a court or field.
It's never a bad idea to be adding another community for people to be more accepting.
To show how popular esports is becoming, in 2018, an estimated 99.6 million people watched the League of Legends World Championship. Compare that to the Super Bowl, which only had about 4 million more viewers. That's all we have for sports this week. For Griffin Stroy, I'm Tony Black. Now we'll toss it over to Katie Brecky, who has your week of entertainment news.
Thanks, Tony. It's premiere week on cable TV, and Downton Abbey dominates the box office. But first, a look at Disney's newest trailer. After 6 years, Disney is back with our favorite Frozen friends. Good Morning America premiered a new Frozen 2 trailer this week that begins to reveal more about the origins of Elsa's powers and the world outside of Arendelle.
Far away, as north as we can go, once stood an enchanted forest.
You've seen an enchanted forest?
Yes, it was a magical place, but something went wrong. Since then, no one can get in or out.
Wow, Papa, that was epic.
Frozen 2 will arrive in theaters on November 22nd, just in time for the holiday season.
Jim, is the whole putting us in mortal danger going to be a regular thing?
Opening this weekend is another Frozen-filled film. Produced by DreamWorks, Abominable tells the story of one girl and her friendship with the abominable snowman as they embark on an epic journey from Shanghai to the Himalayas.
I wish Dad were here to see this.
We go from somewhere over the mountains to somewhere over the rainbow. Oscar winner Renee Zellweger stars as the iconic Judy Garland in a biopic called Judy. Abominable could collect around $20 million at the box office this weekend, and if that expectation holds, it would be the biggest opening weekend this year for an original animated film. This past weekend saw another record breaker at the box office thanks to Downton Abbey. The Focus Features film brought in over $31 million, making it the largest opening in the studio's history. After 6 seasons, the Crowley family at Downton Abbey are back, and this time, they've got some very royal company.
The King and Queen are coming to Downton.
What?
I want every surface to gleam and sparkle.
A royal luncheon, a parade, and a dinner. I'm going to have to sit down.
Your Majesties, welcome to Downton Abbey.
It's clear that the King and Queen outshined Brad Pitt. The sci-fi film Ad Astra only pulled in around $26 million at the box office. And Sylvester Stallone's film Rambo: Last Blood only brought in $19.2 million at the box office.
She's coming home.
On the small screen, it's premiere week on network television. And for some fan favorites, it's the final curtain. Mondays this fall on NBC will feature The Voice with judges Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton, Kelly Clarkson, and John Legend. Tuesdays, prepare your heartstrings to be pulled with NBC's This Is Us as it begins its 4th season with the Pearson family. Wednesdays will include The Masked Singer in its 2nd season, a show where celebrities dress up in outlandish costumes and only reveal their identity once eliminated. On Wednesdays, we will also be saying goodbye to Modern Family with its 11th and final season. Thursdays are jam-packed with ABC's Grey's Anatomy and the final season of How to Get Away with Murder, and NBC's A Million Little Things and the final season of The Good Place. This Friday, turn to Netflix for Ryan Murphy's newest project, The Politician, featuring Ben Platt, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jessica Lange.
I'm running for student body president. That is why I'm proud to introduce my running mate today, Infinity Jackson.
She already has an 80% approval rating.
And a fan account on Instagram.
Also, don't miss the season premiere of Saturday Night Live, its 45th season, and the premiere of The Simpsons' 31st season, continuing its journey as TV's longest-running show. That wraps up a busy week in entertainment. I'm Katie Brecky. Tony, Alyssa?
Thanks, Katie. That's our show this week.
And if you want more, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We leave you now with the sounds of the MSU Wind Symphony from their concert last night. I'm Tony Black.
And I'm Alyssa Burr. Have a great weekend and go green.